What if I told you that one simple exercise done sitting in a chair for just 3 minutes can strengthen your breathing muscles, expand your lung capacity, and improve your oxygen levels more effectively than walking for an hour, and that thousands of people over 60 are experiencing breathing transformations they never achieved despite years of faithful walking? Right now, millions of seniors are walking religiously hoping to improve their breathing, spending precious time and energy on an activity that barely touches the specific limitations causing their breathing problems. Meanwhile, those who discovered this 3-minute seated exercise are rebuilding breathing strength and capacity that walking alone could never deliver, no matter how much they walk. This isn't about abandoning walking if you enjoy it. This is about understanding that when your specific problem is weak breathing muscles and reduced lung capacity, walking is remarkably inefficient at solving it. Walking exercises your cardiovascular system and legs, but it does almost nothing to strengthen the diaphragm and intercostal muscles that power your breathing or to expand the lung tissue capacity that determines how much air you can hold. 3 minutes of this targeted seated exercise provides more breathing-specific training than an hour of walking because it directly challenges the exact muscles and tissues that need strengthening. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal this simple seated exercise that transforms lungs better than walking. I'll explain exactly why it's more effective when walking seems like it should help breathing. I'll teach you how to perform it correctly for maximum benefit. And I'll share the remarkable stories of people over 60 who struggled to breathe despite regular walking, then experienced dramatic improvement within weeks of adding this 3-minute exercise to their routine. Your breathing could transform starting today with an exercise so simple you can do it anywhere, anytime, with no equipment and no physical strain beyond what your breathing muscles need to get stronger. If you're over 60 and you've been walking for exercise but your breathing hasn't improved the way you hoped, you're probably feeling frustrated and discouraged. Maybe you walk faithfully several times a week or even daily. You're following doctor's orders, doing what everyone says is good for you. Yet you still get winded going upstairs. You still struggle with activities that require sustained effort. You still feel breathless during exertion in ways that don't match how much walking you do. You're putting in the effort, following the advice, but not getting the breathing results you desperately need. Here's the truth that almost nobody explains when they recommend walking for lung health. Walking increases your breathing rate to supply oxygen to your working leg muscles, but increased breathing rate alone doesn't strengthen breathing muscles or expand lung capacity. It's like the difference between waving your arms rapidly versus doing push-ups. One creates lots of movement without much strengthening challenge. The other provides targeted resistance that builds real strength. Walking makes you breathe faster, but this 3-minute exercise makes your breathing muscles work harder against resistance, which is what actually builds strength and capacity. After 60, the primary limitations most people face aren't cardiovascular fitness but respiratory muscle weakness and reduced lung expansion. Your diaphragm may have lost 30 to 40% of its strength. Your intercostal muscles may be stiff and weak. Your lung tissues may have lost elasticity, reducing total capacity. Your ribcage may have become less flexible, limiting expansion. Walking addresses none of these specific problems directly. This 3-minute exercise addresses all of them simultaneously, which is why it produces breathing improvements that walking cannot match regardless of how much you walk. Thousands of people over 60 who added this exercise to their routine, whether or not they continued walking, describe breathing transformations that finally gave them the improvement they'd been seeking. People who had walked for years without breathing benefit found that just 2 weeks of this 3-minute daily exercise produced more noticeable change than months of walking. Individuals with mobility issues that prevented much walking found they could still do this seated exercise and rebuild breathing strength that improved their quality of life dramatically. Let me explain why this seated exercise is more effective than walking for breathing improvement in people over 60. Your breathing capacity and efficiency depend on 3 main factors. First, the strength of your diaphragm and intercostal muscles that move air in and out. Second, the maximum volume your lungs can hold when fully expanded. Third, the flexibility of your ribcage that determines how much your chest cavity can expand. Walking doesn't significantly improve any of these 3 factors. This seated exercise improves all three simultaneously. The exercise is called the seated expansion breath with resistance hold. Here's exactly how to perform it and why each component matters. Sit upright in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor and your back straight but not rigid. This positioning is crucial because it allows maximum ribcage expansion. Place your hands on the sides of your ribcage, fingers spread, so you can feel your ribs expand during the exercise. Phase 1 is maximum inhalation. Breathe in slowly through your nose while consciously expanding your ribcage outward and your belly downward. Take a full 5 seconds for this inhalation, filling your lungs beyond where you would normally stop. Keep breathing in even when your lungs feel full, taking those extra small sips of air that stretch your lung tissues and ribcage beyond comfortable capacity. Your hands should feel your ribcage expanding significantly outward. This maximum expansion is what increases lung capacity over time, something walking never requires you to do. Phase 2 is the resistance hold. When your lungs are maximally full, hold your breath for 7 to 10 seconds while maintaining that full expansion. During this hold, your diaphragm is working hard to maintain the contracted position against the pressure of your full lungs. Your intercostal muscles are holding your expanded ribcage against the elastic recoil trying to collapse it. This sustained resistance is what builds strength in these breathing muscles, strength that walking's brief, repeated contractions cannot develop. Phase 3 is controlled exhalation. After the hold, exhale slowly through pursed lips over 6 to 8 seconds, using your abdominal muscles to push air out completely. The pursed lips create back pressure that strengthens expiratory muscles. The complete exhalation ensures you're emptying your lungs fully, which most people never do during normal breathing or even during walking. Complete exhalation is crucial because trapped air takes up space that could be filled with fresh oxygen-rich air. Do this complete cycle 5 times, which takes about 3 minutes total. That's one complete session. Do this twice daily, morning and evening, for maximum benefit. As you practice over weeks, you'll find you can hold the expansion longer and your ribcage expands farther, signs that strength and capacity are increasing. This exercise is more effective than walking because it provides progressive overload to your breathing muscles. Each maximum inhalation challenges your respiratory system beyond its comfortable capacity. Each resistance hold forces muscles to work harder than they do during normal breathing or even elevated walking breathing. Each complete exhalation trains thorough emptying. Walking provides none of these specific challenges. You breathe faster during walking, but not necessarily fuller, not against sustained resistance, and rarely to complete exhalation. The consequences of relying only on walking for breathing improvement are continued limitation despite your exercise efforts. Your cardiovascular system might improve from walking, but your breathing muscles remain weak, your lung capacity stays limited, and your ribcage stays inflexible. Activities continue to leave you breathless because the specific factors limiting your breathing haven't been addressed. Meanwhile, 3 minutes twice daily of this targeted exercise directly builds the strength and capacity that make breathing easy. Now let me give you the complete protocol for implementing this exercise for maximum breathing transformation. The basic technique is simple, but there are important details about progression, frequency, and integration that determine results. Start with self-assessment. Before beginning, test your current capacity. Do one cycle of the exercise and note how long you can comfortably hold the full expansion and how far your ribcage expands. Many people over 60 can initially hold for only 3 to 5 seconds and have very limited ribcage expansion. This is your baseline. Retest monthly to track improvement, which serves as powerful motivation to continue. Begin conservatively. For the first week, do just 3 cycles instead of 5, taking breaks between cycles if needed. Don't push to your absolute maximum capacity initially. Use about 80% of your maximum effort. The goal is building sustainable practice, not exhausting yourself. As the exercise becomes familiar and comfortable, increase to the full 5 cycles. Progress gradually. Every week or two, try to extend your hold time by 1 second and consciously work to expand your ribcage slightly farther than feels comfortable. This progressive challenge is what drives continued improvement. Most people can work up to 15 to 20 second holds and dramatically increased ribcage expansion over several months. Practice consistency. Do this exercise twice daily without exception. Morning after waking and evening before bed works well for most people. The 3-minute time requirement makes this one of the most time-efficient breathing exercises possible. Missing days means losing momentum and slowing progress. Combine with awareness. Throughout your day, occasionally check whether you're breathing deeply from your diaphragm or shallowly from your chest. When you notice shallow breathing, take a few deep breaths using the pattern from this exercise. This reinforces the strength training and provides additional practice. Let me tell you about James, a 72-year-old man who had been walking 30 minutes 5 days a week for 3 years hoping to improve his breathing. He was dedicated to his walking routine, believing it would eventually help his lungs. But after 3 years, James's breathing was no better. He still got winded climbing the stairs in his home. He still had to pause during activities to catch his breath. He was frustrated and discouraged that all his walking effort hadn't produced the breathing improvement he desperately needed. Then James saw a respiratory therapist who assessed his breathing mechanics and found profound weakness in his diaphragm and intercostal muscles, along with very limited lung capacity and ribcage flexibility. The therapist explained that walking, while good for cardiovascular health, doesn't address these specific respiratory limitations. She taught James this seated expansion breath exercise and had him practice it in her office until he could do it correctly. James committed to doing the exercise twice daily. He set reminders on his phone so he wouldn't forget. Within 1 week, James noticed he could hold the expansion slightly longer than when he started. Within 2 weeks, he realized he wasn't getting as winded during his daily activities. After 1 month of consistent practice, James could climb his home stairs without stopping, something he hadn't been able to do in over 2 years. After 3 months of twice-daily practice combined with his continued walking, James's breathing had transformed. His respiratory therapist repeated her assessment and found his diaphragm strength had increased measurably, his lung capacity had expanded, and his ribcage flexibility had improved. James could sustain activities that used to leave him gasping. He had more energy because breathing was no longer exhausting. He continues both his walks, which he enjoys, and his twice-daily breathing exercise, which he credits with the breathing improvement his years of walking alone never provided. The key insight from James's experience is that targeted training for specific limitations produces results that general exercise cannot. Walking is wonderful for general fitness, but if your specific problem is weak breathing muscles and limited lung capacity, you need specific exercises that directly address those limitations. This 3-minute seated exercise does exactly that. For people with severe mobility limitations who cannot walk much, this exercise is particularly valuable because it provides powerful breathing benefits while sitting. You don't need to go anywhere, have good weather, or have functional legs. You just need to sit and breathe intentionally for 3 minutes. Many people with arthritis, balance problems, or other mobility issues that prevent walking have rebuilt significant breathing capacity through this exercise alone. The exercise can be done almost anywhere at any time. You can do it in bed immediately after waking. You can do it sitting at your kitchen table. You can do it in your car before driving. You can do it in a waiting room. The universality and accessibility make it easy to maintain consistency, which is crucial for results. Some people enhance the exercise by adding gentle arm movements that further open the chest. As you breathe in, slowly raise your arms out to the sides and overhead. As you exhale, lower them back down. This adds a stretching component that can increase ribcage flexibility even more. However, the basic exercise without arm movements is perfectly effective on its own. Respiratory therapists and pulmonologists who understand breathing mechanics consistently recommend targeted resistance breathing exercises over general aerobic exercise for building respiratory strength and capacity in seniors. Research comparing respiratory muscle training to aerobic exercise shows that resistance breathing produces greater improvements in inspiratory strength, expiratory strength, lung capacity, and functional breathing during activities of daily living. Studies on expansion breathing techniques document measurable increases in vital capacity, which is the maximum amount of air you can forcefully exhale after maximum inhalation. This measure directly correlates with breathing comfort during activities. Research shows that regular expansion breathing practice can increase vital capacity by 10 to 20% in seniors, improvements that translate to dramatically easier breathing during real-world activities. The insider knowledge that specialists share is that most breathing limitations in seniors stem from respiratory muscle weakness and reduced lung expansion, not from inherent lung disease. These limitations respond excellently to targeted training but barely respond to general aerobic exercise like walking. Yet doctors routinely recommend walking without mentioning specific breathing exercises, leaving patients frustrated when walking doesn't solve their breathing problems. Here's something that will change how you think about exercise and breathing. Research comparing breathing capacity in people who do yoga or Tai Chi, which include breath control practices, to those who only do aerobic exercise like walking found that the yoga and Tai Chi practitioners had superior breathing capacity and efficiency despite doing less cardiovascular exercise. The reason is that breath-focused practices directly train the respiratory system in ways that aerobic exercise does not. The revelation is that you might be wasting time on long walks hoping for breathing improvement when 3 minutes twice daily of targeted breathing exercise would produce far better results far faster. Time efficiency matters, especially as we age and energy becomes more precious. When you start this exercise and experience breathing improvement that years of walking didn't provide, the psychological impact is profound. You feel validated because you weren't failing by not improving with walking, you were just using the wrong tool for your specific problem. You feel empowered because 3 minutes twice daily is achievable for almost anyone, and the results prove your effort matters. You feel hopeful because breathing is improving instead of declining. People who successfully incorporate this exercise describe feeling smarter about their health because they've learned to target specific problems with specific solutions rather than assuming one-size-fits-all exercise advice applies to everyone. They feel grateful for the breathing comfort that transforms daily life. They feel confident that they're actively building respiratory capacity that will serve them for years to come. We've covered why this 3-minute seated exercise transforms lungs better than walking. Walking elevates breathing rate but doesn't provide resistance training for breathing muscles, doesn't expand lungs to maximum capacity, and doesn't increase ribcage flexibility. The seated expansion breath with resistance hold does all three, building strength and capacity that walking cannot. The exercise is simple, accessible, and requires just 3 minutes twice daily. The question isn't whether this works better than walking for breathing. Research and experience prove it does. The question is whether you're going to add this 3-minute practice to your daily routine starting tomorrow or continue relying on walking alone for breathing improvement it cannot efficiently provide. Here's what you need to do tomorrow morning. Sit in a sturdy chair. Do 5 cycles of maximum inhalation, resistance hold, and complete exhalation. 3 minutes total. Tomorrow evening, do it again. Notice within a week how your breathing during daily activities is changing. Within a month, the improvement should be obvious. Walking is wonderful for many health benefits, but for breathing strength and capacity after 60, this 3-minute exercise is dramatically more effective. Stop wasting time on inefficient approaches. Start doing what actually works. 3 minutes tomorrow morning. 3 minutes tomorrow evening. Your breathing transformation is waiting in your chair.